a lot of guys, they just don't have the training. And it's not that they don't want to satisfy their partners, they just don't know how.
You would say that a lot of the times people are coming to you because they're having difficulty connecting with their partner?
Yeah, well, it shows up in a lot of ways. A lot of men come to me because they have struggles in the bedroom, such as performance anxiety, which can show up as delayed ejaculation, erectile dysfunction, premature ejaculation. They may have porn addiction, things like that. And so they typically will come in, or they're in a relationship where their partners just stopped wanting to have sex with them. That happens quite a bit because, as women, when we're having sex and the sex doesn't feel good and it's actually like we don't get satisfied, our bodies shut down. Our bodies no longer desire to have sex. But if a woman is sexually satisfied, she is going to be wanting to have sex all of the time, right? Like a turned on woman, a woman that is getting the sex that really lights her up, that really is like, oh my God, yes, she's going to want sex, And so a lot of guys, they just don't have the training. And it's not that they don't want to satisfy their partners, they just don't know how. So I work with them and help them. This one particular client that I was just discussing went from, they were having sex once every couple of months to now 3 times a week. And this is just after 2 months in the program.
Wow. So a lot of what you're doing, it sounds like, is helping heal or work through something as adults. Is there a way we can support men and women from birth so that they don't have to later in life then work through this and heal this much?
Yeah, so I think hopefully, knock on wood, future generations will have less challenge around this. I mean, we have so many social changes happening currently, and that have been going on for the past 70 years, right? And so it's massive, massive change that's been going on culturally and socially. And a lot of that, comes the religious programming of the past, that doesn't have the same sort of stronghold over people, the current generation as it did in the past. And, so things are changing. I will say, a negative part of what is going on in current society is the such ease of access to porn. I do think that is detrimental to our sex lives, just because, not that porn itself is bad, and easy access to porn and sex workers, there have actually been studies that have shown that it reduces sexual violence in society. So it's not that it's bad or wrong, but a lot of guys are finding that they watch it so much that it's really causing a disconnect in the bedroom, that the way their brains are being programmed to have sex and experience their sexuality, it makes it difficult to connect when they're having sex with a woman. And women are feeling the pressure to perform like the women in porn, and men feel the pressure to perform like the men in porn and to look like that, to have that, penis size. So that's a difficulty that we're currently facing. And, so I think there's always going to be challenges, but the more we talk with people, with kids in a healthy way, and I love how there's new types of education when it comes to boys in school around consent and what it means to be to interact with girls and things like that. So, we have to teach. We teach.
I agree 100%. I'm curious what you think of. You've mentioned consent and education. What are some other traits of someone who has a healthy relationship with their masculinity?
Yeah, communication, consent, really just knowing themselves. Personal development work is really such an important part of being able to be in a healthy relationship and just to be a healthy, integrated human being. It's I do a lot of what's called shadow work with my clients, where it's looking at these dark places, these dark parts of themselves that they want to avoid, but then that ends up being what actually controls them. And so we do a lot of work around healing our shadows, integrating our shadows, so we can be just more empowered, more conscious, more aware of our lives in the day-to-day, moment to moment. And that helps in all aspects of our life, like when it comes to business, when it comes to parenting, when it comes to relationships, how you're having sex. So I would say that's a really big deal.
Yeah, and if anyone who's watching right now hasn't heard of shadow work, like, look into it. It's really powerful stuff, and it can have huge benefits to you, though it is a bit intimidating of a process. As we're wrapping up, I want anyone who's listening to just drop some questions in the chat if you have any. I'll be happy to share them. But in the meantime, what are some misconceptions that men often have in regards to like having healthy sexual relationships when they join your program?
Yeah, I mean, most of the time, guys think that sex should look like what they see in porn, and just need to realize that porn is, they're actors, right? Porn actors are actors. We don't see Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible like do all of his tricks and think that we're going to do that stuff at home. You know, like we realize it's just there as our for entertainment. And porn is also designed, it's supposed to be for entertainment, but we, you know, for some reason think that it's supposed to be real life. And it's not. Like there's a lot of props that they're using. It's a huge budget that they're working with. And, you know, they've got Viagra and they've got squirting things and, you know, I don't even know what all they've got going on. But like that's not how real sex looks. And sex like that does not feel good to a woman. You're not going to satisfy a woman if that's how you're having sex. It's actually very, very painful for her. So men, I would just say slow way down. I was actually talking to guys in my group yesterday, and you know, one of them asked a question similar to that, you know, and I was like, went through this whole thing, but at the end I said, basically, you're going to take 100 times longer than you think you should.
Yeah, it's true. That's great. I wonder, like, in all of this, which is so great, and clearly, like, what seems to be the path is that men need to take that step to choose to be working on themselves. But is there a way we can engage with men who aren't living in this healthy balance with their masculinity?
Sorry, can you describe that a little bit more?
Yeah, like how, if we, let's say we're in a relationship with someone and, you know, don't want to use the word toxic masculinity because we're talking about healthy masculinity, but let's say they're exhibiting traits of like having a toxic relationship with their masculinity. How can you work with them or present that to them in like a way that would engage them?
Yeah, I mean, they have to be willing and wanting change first and foremost. Unfortunately, I find that, you know, people that are really in that, like it can be difficult to reach them. It can be difficult to for them to really get or even desire change. So the desire has to come first and foremost from them. And like if somebody wants to make change in their life, they absolutely can. But you can present options to them, but yeah, I tend to just, you know, put my focus on the guys that are like really, really wanting this, because I feel like there's actually more of them out there, and the more I empower them, the bolder, more stronger, like more visible they become in the world, then they're going to make a bigger impact and they'll be able to stand up to the others.
Totally. And hello to those in the chat who are just joining. So as we start to wind down, I just want to ask, is there anything that you would like to share about the work that you're doing, how people can reach out and interact with Tantric Activation?
Yeah, so my website is tantricactivation.com, TANTRIC activation.com. I've got a couple different programs for men and then a couple of different programs for women as well. And yeah, it's really just, it's a place to come and learn how to have incredible sex and also, keep it fun. It's kind of like a modern version of like, I don't want to say sex therapies scare people off, but like, you know, you don't have to go sit in like a therapist chair and this whole one-on-one thing in a sterile office. Like you can come and work through your shit and, you know, have a great time with it.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope everyone goes and checks out the work Sarah's doing. Thank you, Sarah. I hope you have a lovely day.
Yeah, thanks for having me.